Welcome to the weekly roundup for Friday, March 6, 2026. Let's dive right into this week's most complex story, which, well, it puts Canadian security and diplomacy in a very, very tight spot. So, we're going to start with a pretty stark reminder from Canada's spy agency about what the foreign interference landscape actually looks like right now. Yeah, you heard that right. CSIS has publicly confirmed that, in their view, India is still a primary source of foreign interference and espionage. Now, this is a huge deal because it seems to directly contradict what the government has been suggesting lately, that these activities had stopped. So this creates a really public and, frankly, very tense situation. But, and this is where the plot really thickens, at the very same time our security agency is sounding the alarm, a completely different narrative is unfolding. It really highlights the deep complexity of our relationship with India. It's like we're walking a tightrope. So, how do you reconcile these two things? I mean, on one hand, you have a confirmed security threat stated loud and clear, and on the other, we're launching a major new partnership to boost our economy and innovation, calling India a natural partner. It's this classic dilemma, a real high-stakes balancing act. And this isn't just talk. As part of this new strategy, the University of Toronto is offering a whopping $25 million in scholarships. That's for over 220 students from India. This is a serious investment. And it goes way beyond just the scholarships. I mean, we're talking about a deep strategy here. There are 13 new agreements between universities, new joint innovation campuses being set up in India, and literally hundreds of research opportunities being funded. The idea is to really strengthen those long-term ties. Okay, let's move on to some major good news stories from right here at home. These really showcase the fantastic momentum we're seeing in Canada's R&D ecosystem. First up, the University of Toronto and tech giant AMD are launching a massive new AI and computing lab. This thing is going to support 100 research projects over the next 3 years. And get this, it puts U of T right alongside global powerhouses like MIT and ETH Zurich in AMD's network. That's a huge win. Meanwhile, Quebec's government is injecting a cool $36 million into Mila, the Quebec Artificial Intelligence Institute. The goal is to really bolster its role as a world-class AI hub and keep that momentum going. And over in the defense sector, Western University is teaming up with Germany's TKMS. This is a really interesting partnership aimed at enhancing our sovereignty in the Arctic and developing what are called dual-use technologies. Stuff that has both military and civilian applications. All right, so now for a quick trip around the globe, let's see how other nations are trying to navigate this really tricky research security landscape. Okay, now what's really interesting here is the sheer scale of collaboration we're seeing in Australia. Newly released data shows that taxpayers there funded over 1,500 projects with researchers in these 4 countries. And yeah, you're seeing that right, one of them was with North Korea. As you can imagine, this is sparking some pretty serious national security debates down under. And this slide right here really illustrates the challenge of transparency. Yale's top foreign funding source isn't a global superpower. It's Guernsey. That tiny offshore financial hub that's famous for donor privacy. It makes it almost impossible to know who's really behind the money. Elsewhere, we're seeing a lot of action. The UK is building new security collaborations. Portugal is basically redesigning its entire research and innovation system from the ground up. And the EU, they're creating a unified framework so they can, and I quote, speak with one voice on science and security. Okay, let's bring it all home with some practical guidance. This is from the Canadian Centre for Cybersecurity, and it's all about helping you protect your work. When it comes to AI, the Cyber Center has basically distilled its top 10 actions into 3 core pillars. It's simple, really. 1. Protect against your AI being misused. 2. Protect the AI systems themselves. And 3. Protect your people, the users, by making sure they validate what the AI puts out. And hey, if you're using drones, you really have to be aware of these key threats. We're talking everything from GPS jamming and hijacking to straight-up theft of your sensitive data. The advice is clear. Do a full threat assessment before you even think about deploying one. All this guidance really emphasizes that building resilience is a key part of keeping our entire innovation ecosystem secure and thriving. It's not optional. And that's our roundup. This week really leaves us with a critical question to think about, doesn't it? As our research world gets more global and AI gets more powerful, how on earth do we build the right guardrails for tomorrow? Thanks for joining us.